Continuing our year-end discussions now, SUNUP's Elizabeth Hokett catches up with OSU agricultural economist Dr. John Michael Riley.
We're continuing our end-of-year discussions, this time with John Michael Riley. So John Michael, it's, as every year is, been a bit of an interesting year in the market. So tell us a little bit about what's kind of happened from January up to now.
Absolutely, and I think what you said there is 100% correct. Every year is interesting in its own rights, and you know, if you think about just even a larger perspective than just this year, if we go back over a 20-year span, I mean, our agricultural markets have really been, you know, shaping and changing in a lot of respects, largely due to, you know, just how fast information is flowing from one sector to the other. The connectivity of all of our markets is just, it's hard to really put it all into scope, but I mean, it's happening and it's continuing to happen. So every year is very interesting. This year, absolutely no different. Coming into the year, a lot of expectations of, you know, improvements from the past couple of years. And so we started the year with a little bit of a shakeup when we got the prospective plantings report, much lower corn acreage numbers than what the market was thinking was going to be, higher soybean acreage number than what the market was thinking was going to be, about 4 million more wheat acres between winter wheat and then expectations on spring and summer wheat. So all of that kind of put a little bit of a damper on the marketplace, largely with beans and with wheat. Corn, a little bit of a higher coming out of that. And then we get to move forward, plantings are happening, we actually get the numbers from the producers, and as opposed to what they were thinking about doing. And then everything kind of went back to what we thought it was going to be. Corn numbers were up, soybean acres about the same, wheat acres about the same. So that put a little bit of a damper on the corn market. And so, you know, but still the expectations were that we're going to have a strong year, that you know, we're going to kind of continue to see some good trade numbers, and that we were potentially going to have, you know, a decent crop, but nothing too, you know, overly abundant. And then we start seeing the growing season throughout the summer, really just ideal conditions for pretty much everybody except for the southern plains. And so, you know, where most of our corn and beans are grown, just really good conditions, and that just continued to put added pressure on the market throughout the growing season, and prices continued to decline.
And with wheat planting, you know, the drought obviously has had a lot of the producers on the edge of their seats for a while, and then we got a bunch of rain. So talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. You know, some people are planting just because the calendar says we plant. And I think others were on the edge of the seats a little bit more. We're, you know, trying to make sure that the soil conditions were more proper for putting the seed in the ground. And, you know, with those rains, we have seen plantings kind of get back to a normal pace. In terms of total acreage, I think we're going to see probably about the same number of acres here in Oklahoma. Not real sure about nationally yet, but I think here in Oklahoma probably going to be very close to numbers that we're typically at, just because it's kind of what we do, right? And so, but with these rains, we're starting to see the crop emerge, and I think we are seeing conditions really improve for the crop that's currently in the ground.
Yeah, and so with this being an election year too, how does that typically affect the markets?
Well, the election year brings a lot of uncertainty and unrest with all markets, you know, not just ag, but so much. And our agricultural markets were, you know, anticipating what might happen. But now that we kind of have a better understanding of what the administration is, who the administration is, we have a little bit of better understanding about what they may be, you know, trying to implement from a policy standpoint. And so with now that uncertainty is not necessarily completely subsided, we do have some expectations there, and a lot of talk right now from the Trump administration about what we're going to do with trade. And so some talk of increased tariffs. Anytime you get tariffs, you know, that's just a tax on goods and services that we bring, or goods that we bring into the U.S. So oftentimes that's met with some retaliatory policies from our friends overseas. And so that is one that we are watching very closely. We export quite a bit of our grain crops, you know, about 60% of our corn, well over, you know, 80% of our cotton is exported. Not nearly as much on the beans and wheat side of things, but still, you know, it's significant enough that those markets are, you know, to use your term earlier, on the edge of their seats to kind of see how those policies moving forward to this new administration are going to be.
And another really interesting part of our year was our longtime market analyst, Kim Anderson, retired, and you were able to come on with us in August, right in the middle of the growing season. So talk a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's been a fun time. I've really enjoyed, getting to the opportunity to come visit with you every other week. And so, Dr. Anderson, it's hard to fill those shoes, and I'm by no way am I feel like I am in any adequate measure, but it's something that I've enjoyed. It's given me an opportunity to kind of visit with the folks in Oklahoma more on a more intimate basis through the TV, obviously, but it's given me that opportunity. When my first episode, we kind of went into a little bit of my background and my history. So prior to coming to Oklahoma State, I had some extension experience and did some similar conversations about markets in general. And so I've really enjoyed kind of getting back to that in a lot of respects. Getting off campus every so often has been really nice as well. So I've really enjoyed it. I hope that I have been providing enough information and insight for our folks out in the state to utilize in some fashion. If nothing else, just time to mute the TV and go get a cup of coffee or something.
Yeah, we've definitely enjoyed getting to know you and talking with you too, John Michael, and we look forward to next year as well.
Thank you.